If you have a desire to become a better version of your current self, then this podcast is for you. I share with you helpful thoughts, tips, and stories surrounding fitness and self-improvement which you can apply to your life today. So for those of you that want to take control of your life, to learn, to grow, to become that which you desire most, I am your host, Connor Malone, and this is the pursuit of constant improvement. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 simple steps that you can take to overcome inaction and unlock your potential with your own self-improvement. So if you're somebody who is ambitious about their own self-improvement, you're constantly thinking about wanting to be better, but you feel like you're not taking the action that's necessary to actually go out and do that, this podcast is perfect for you. This episode is exactly for you. Because what we find all too often in life is people consume all this self-development, self-improvement information, but they struggle to apply it. They struggle to take action because they don't know where to start. So they leave all this potential locked up. Whereas what I'm going to go over today is for people like you, how you can start taking action and how you can really delve into that potential that you have and let it loose. So you can unravel that from there. Because if you are interested in becoming this ideal self, this version of yourself that is, of course, behind your ambitions, then, of course, action is the way to get there. But I understand from coming from a place of inaction. I was in that position once when I didn't know what steps to take with my own self-improvement. I didn't know, right, what do I do first? What do I need to do? So hopefully this episode can give you some good insight into that for today. So one thing this will do for you is no matter what you want to improve, whether it's your physique, whether it's your health, whether it's your job, anything, this should give you guidance and structure. It's not a like one size fits all. It's not for one specific thing. It's self-improvement as a whole. Self-improvement comes across a wide array of things. So you should be able to take a lot from this. The very first thing is where I started with my own pursuit of constant improvement. And I can trace it back to 2018 when I was brought into this group. Basically, I'd signed up for this course, right? I'd impulsively bought this course for Instagram because I wanted to learn this thing. And basically, I got put into this group of people. And I thought, it's going to be this random group chat. Probably nobody will speak in it. And what happened is I was put in this group of incredibly inspiring people and energized people. And it really unlocked my mind into like, wow, this is what's possible. And this really is reframing your mindset. This is how I started to reframe my mindset by putting myself in positions that I'd never been in before. That can be difficult when inaction is a problem, but it can start with even the tiniest little bits of action. Because what people think is they need to take this big leap to start with self-improvement. But it can be small little actions that create the big results further down the line. And for me, that was signing up to this wee course and joining this wee group chat. And then I seen these people talking about what they'd achieved in that day and that week and that month, where they'd started, where they were now. And it really made me realise, because I'd never been around those type of people before, what was possible. And that is when I started to, as I said, reframe your mind. Because nothing changes unless your mindset does. Because people are often in this position of mindset, like they're in like a scarcity mindset, and only certain people can achieve something. It's not possible for them. They don't have belief in themselves. If that is constantly you, no wonder you're not taking action. But again, I get that. That's where I was. So that is the very first thing that's actually going to lead to you taking action. It's going to be by reframing your mindset and understanding what is possible in life. Now, one of the things I see now all too often is like people are negative, right? We're naturally in the world we're brought up in. We're brought up to be negative because negative information spreads quicker than positive. I don't know if you've ever noticed this yourself, but I used to in fact, I still get this to this day. See, if there's a bit of negative news that I know about, something's happened, I don't know, did you hear about so-and-so, whatever. I almost get this, I don't know where it comes from, but I get this like ability that I need to tell somebody. It's really weird. It's like we naturally want to spread bad news more than we do positive news. And this sounds counterproductive, but it's human nature. But what that leads to is a really negative frame of mind, and we're always focused on the negative. Whereas with self-improvement, we need to be focused on growth and improvement from there. And that is one of the ways to do that is by reframing our mindset. The way I done that most is, as I said, I got in a group with people who were positive-minded. Basically, I surrounded myself with people that I wanted to become like. So if you want to be disciplined, if you want to be happier, if you want to be fitter, surround yourself with those types of people, because their energy will be infectious, because their routines will rub off on you. If you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of losers all the time, but you want to succeed, you want to grow and improve and do more, they're not going to help you do that, and they're not going to open your eyes to help you realize what is actually possible in life, because that's what happened to me, and that is what's going to happen to you. So that's kind of the first small step you can take to do that. One of the ways I done that was through watching self-improvement videos. Now, I've said this before, it's very difficult to get to a stage where consuming content and actually actioning that content. But it always starts with consumption. You need to surround yourself in an environment, and one way to do that is through self-improvement content. For example, listening to this podcast. You've made the decision not to go and watch Netflix right now, but to listen to this podcast, which may inspire a thought in your mind or give you a tip that you can go and take away and apply to your life and grow and improve. And again, unlock some of that potential that you've got, because everybody has potential. Something needs to show you, like something you need to do, something that then unlocks that, and then pursue it. With reframing your mindset, what I find is one of the most important things is the view of failure. Because people are often held back from taking action out of fear of failure. They're like, oh, well, if I try this, I might fail. If I start a business, I'll fail. If I start going to the gym, I'll end up just failing anyway. That is a horrible attitude to have. It's a defense mechanism. I get it. I've been there. But what we need to do is reframe that attitude. Failure is not quitting. They're two separate things. When you quit, you completely give in. When you fail, you can go again. You can learn from your mistakes and you can improve. That is what a winner would do. Whereas some type of loser they would fail and then they'd be like, right, that's me, I'm done, that's it. Again, remember they're two separate things, and that's how you can start to reframe that part of your mindset. By turning from that negative mindset to a growth mindset, one way you can do that, or a few ways you can do that, is through, of course, as I said, consuming that type of information. Like affirmations is a big one. Like, it sounds so silly, but see, saying something to yourself, it makes you believe it. When people lie to themselves for ages, they do genuinely start to believe it. So why would you be telling yourself something positive be anything different? If you say it to yourself enough, you will start to believe it. It will start to take over your kind of subconscious mind, if you like, from there. Now, one of the things that often starts with people's own self-improvement is this idea of destination addiction. So they're like, right, when I get, my journey starts here, and when I get £1 million in my bank, or when I get this car, or when I get to this place and live in this place, or I'm friends with these people, that's when I'll be happy, that's when I'll have made it, that's when I'll be a success. Doesn't happen like that. Again, that's what we call destination addiction. You become addicted to what's in front of you, which miles away, and you're not grateful for what's happening at the time. That is a kind of path to despair and misery. It's always kind of just tying your happiness to something that is in front of you. Although we should always pursue more, and as I put it, constant improvement, we should never tie our happiness to that and say, right, I'll be happy when, that'll be me, I'll reach this level of success, this level of improvement when I get this. It's a constant pursuit. We're constantly improving all the time. So that is one thing that reframes your mindset, realizing there is no end destination. This is a constant pursuit. And that's what really helped me kind of push forward from there. The next thing to help you is going to be creating purpose. Because that's essentially one of the main reasons why people can't take action, because there's no purpose behind their actions. It's like, right, well, why are you doing this? Who do you want to be? Like, why are you going to the gym? Like, oh, to lose a little bit of weight. Well, why? Maybe because you need to tie it to a strong emotion, because I want to be that person that's confident in their own body. I want to be that person that has this physique that then gives an aura around themselves. It needs to be something, it needs to be a strong reason why. Because when you create your own purpose, again, purpose is created. It's not just given to you by someone. You create it. You say to yourself, this is what I want. You tie it to that emotion. You pursue it relentlessly. And that helps you take action. Because if you don't take action, it's most likely because you have no strong purpose or desire leading you to action. One of the things I really like to do was think of, like, maybe not more so like what do I want to become, but what don't I want to become? Because that is a scary thought, and scary thoughts can trigger action. So it's like, right, who am I becoming? If you're not happy with the person you're becoming, you can look and say, right, well, the actions I'm doing right now, or the inaction right now that I'm kind of facilitating, is going to lead for me to become a degenerate, I'm going to become overweight, I'm going to get in the back, I'm going to pick up addictions, and inevitably not live a very fulfilling life. That's quite a scary thought, but that should drive you into taking action. So again, don't just always think of who you want to become, think of who you don't want to become, and let that dictate your actions, and let that help you spur on and take action from there. My purpose, as I've spoke about, in case you can't tell from the sign behind me, is the pursuit of constant improvement. What drives me forward every day and makes me take action is this idea of constantly improving throughout my life, because of this vision I have of myself of who I want to become, which constantly evolves. But it makes me happy and fulfilled. Every time I come closer to that person, I'm like, yes, I've put in action, I've put in work, and I'm getting results. It pushes me forward. So that's a huge part of my purpose, is this pursuit. And that comes in all areas of life. It comes in business, with my friends, with my relationships, just life in general. It's a constant pursuit of improvement from there. Now, inevitably, one of the most important of these, probably the most important of the 3 steps, this is step number 1 of the pursuit of constant improvement. In terms of the coaching program, the very first thing we do is remove bad habits. Bad habits can come in many forms. It can be limiting beliefs, things that hold you back. For example, what we spoke about first, it could be that failure is the end. That's it. Like, oh, once you fail, that's you. That's obviously not the case. That is a limiting belief that you've set upon yourself. You can change that. That can be seen as like a bad habit from there. Other bad habits might be addictions or things that lead you away from good habits. That is simply what a bad habit can be. It leads you away from becoming better every single day, from growing and from improving. You need to remove these things, because no matter what, so like the things we went over, you can reframe your mindset, have a super positive mindset. You can create a lot of purpose in your life. However, if you still have bad habits and addiction, it will draw you back. Okay, what it'll be, imagine like a chain around you. Imagine you're the super positive person. You've got all these goals, aspirations, purpose. You're taking action, but somebody's got a chain around you and they're constantly pulling you back from growth and improvement. That is what addiction is. That's what bad habits are. They're a chain that's wrapped around you and they're pulling you back. You need to rid yourself of that chain. Because again, you can have the most positive mindset in the world and the best desires and the greatest purpose and the intent to take action. But if you're surrounded by negative people, you have addictions, other bad habits, they keep creeping into your lives, they will constantly pull you back. So that's why it's step number 1 in my own pursuit of constant improvement in the coaching program that I, of course, coach. That is the most important thing from there. So again, the other things are of course, important, but this kickstarts everything, really. Now, with this, I've already defined some of them. Negative friend groups, that can be it. Once you have, again, reframed your mindset and you realise that you're meant for more, that you realise you do have potential, you start consuming all this content, you realise that, you've reframed your mindset, you're a bit more positive, you want to grow and improve, your friends may be kind of draining you of that energy. These may not be true friends. They might just be people you've grown up with. You might need to move on from them. That might not be the case, but it also might be. It often is for a lot of people. You might need to move away from them. You might need to rid yourself of those limiting beliefs. It might be your environment, your work environment. Maybe it's a good idea to try and change career paths, because the career path you're on leads you to addiction and things like that. That could be a good idea to rid yourself of, because as I said, all the good habits in the world can be limited by one bad habit, one addiction, one thing that pulls you back. One thing as well that I like from bad habits, I spoke about it there in terms of like the people you're around, is I always aim to be one of the, definitely not the smartest person in the room, because what we tend to find is, like you've probably heard the phrase of like a big fish in a small pond. If you're this really, you have purpose, you're this growth-minded individual, you have all these ideas, these plans, but you're constantly surrounded by people who are nowhere near that, that doesn't push you to improve. Whereas if you put yourself this growth mindset, this lack of, you remove these bad habits and everything, you put yourself in an environment with your purpose, around these people who are much better than you, much wiser than you, basically have everything you want, that pushes you forward. That's essentially what I done with being included in that group chat. I was the least smartest person in there. I was the least wise. I'd taken the least amount of action, but it spurred me forward because there was so much room to grow and improve, and it truly showed me what was possible. So again, just to summarise, step number 1, reframe your mindset, because without this mindset, you're not going to want to grow and improve. So that enables us to do that. Step number 2 is then creating purpose, because that helps us overcome inaction. If we've got purpose behind our actions, that pushes us to do things, to pursue more, to pursue that growth and improvement. After that, we remove the limits. Okay, so we remove the bad habits, we take these limitations away, and then we truly can unlock our potential when these things aren't holding us back anymore. Then we have everything we need to push forward, overcome inaction, and become that person we truly want to be. I hope those 3 kind of steps there helped you. They certainly helped me with my own pursuit, and they should really give you some guidance on your own. One thing I'd like to focus on is a quote which doesn't directly relate to this, but relates to a kind of few things we spoke about. It's by Tim Grover. He has 2 books which are excellent. So he coached Kobe Bryant, he coached LeBron James. And yeah, one of his quotes is this: "Stop telling people your hopes and dreams. Show them your decisions and actions." And that's what we come back to. We come back to inaction and everything behind that. People tend to get to a position where they always talk about, I want this, I want that. Nobody cares what you want. They care about what you do, the action that you take. So this actually relates very well, because the whole point of this episode was to overcome that inaction. You should want to become that person who doesn't tell people, oh, I hope to do this, I dream to do this. You should be the person that says, oh, well, I do this because I'm going to do this. I'm going to become this person. This is why I'm doing this. So be that person who doesn't just dream and wish and say they're going to do something. Be that person who goes out there and does it. And that's how you'll push forward from there. Now, as ever, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I think there were some super kind of clear gems in there for your own pursuit of constant improvement to help you overcome that inaction and push forward in your own self-improvement journey. Again, I hope you can take something from this. You can apply it to your own pursuit of constant improvement and inevitably become that person that you desire to be. So again, thank you for listening, and I hope you continue with your own pursuit of constant improvement.